Hey, this is Notser, and today we're taking a look at the Tier 6 Premium Spanish Heavy Cruiser, Canarius. This was introduced in 11.1 for 70 Mediterranean tokens, and as I said in my video yesterday on the Dido, the only catch is you can only choose one or the other, either this ship or the Dido, to unlock with your Mediterranean tokens. Now, this is the first Spanish ship introduced into the game, hopefully not the last. So Wargaming did a good job of making both ships attractive in their own way. Obviously, first Spanish ship versus a oversized British DD. But I'm going to showcase this match, talk about my experiences with it, and hopefully that will give you a better understanding of which ship seems to be the right choice for you. Now, as far as the build is concerned, we go main armament mod 1, extended duration engine boost. You'll note that the engine boost is very similar in duration to the French engine boost, and I will obviously talk about that in the game. Aiming system mod 1, faster rudder shift. You'll note that the gun range is pretty large. It's like 16 something, which is very useful, and at extended ranges the rudder shift is more beneficial because it's giving you more time to actually affect the ship's angling. Incoming fire alert from the commander skills, focus AA, adrenaline rush, concealment, radiolocation, improved AP damage, superintendent, and faster turret traverse. So the build is slightly different from my usual cruiser build. I opted to take the improved AP damage, which is 5%. There's no penalty, and on this ship there is no other option, so you're always firing AP, so it's always helpful. The other skill, faster turret traverse, it's just simply the AP skill was 3 points, and I had 1 extra point, and I was trying to decide, what would work well with my playstyle. Faster turret traverse would, because we are actively dodging at range. And this line is very interesting, because it does feel very French with the way that the ship is maneuvering. It also has a long duration, high impact engine boost, which, because it's long duration and high impact, you treat it just like you would on a French ship. You want to buff it because it is your lifeblood. It gives you power over your opponent, and it really helps a lot with this ship. So as we're sailing away, the other skill that you'll note, it has hydroacoustic, and that's the only option. So, Wargaming is kind of making a commentary here with the Dido having defensive AA and Canarias having hydroacoustic as literally the only options. So you could choose, I don't really like one or the other, but I like hydro for obvious reasons, or I like defensive AA for obvious reasons. I wish I had something like defensive AA in this game at this precise second. I'm sure it'll change in 5 or 10 minutes, but at this precise second, defensive AA is looking pretty useful with an enemy carrier. But obviously, we're staying back, we're trying to fire on cooldown, and, it's being effective at avoiding damage, but it's not pumping any damage out. I mean, we've already been at this for however long. We're near max range, and the best damage we could actually get was on this Fiji, and it's not citadels, it's just basic chip damage, and it's going to take a while at this rate. So I just have to keep up and hopefully dodge as many shells as I possibly can. It's tough. But you'll notice that the concealment is pretty good for the range of the guns. You have about 6 kilometers of potential range that you can use all over the map. Now, you can extend that range, but it is a tier 6. I don't think many people expect the tier 6s to be, kitted out the same as a tier 10. And if you do, well, you got to lower your expectations, friend, because it's not going to be kitted out the same as a tier 10. But it's an interesting first impression to the Spanish Navy. Obviously, this is the first Spanish ship introduced into the game. Now, the camouflage that I'm using is a Atlantic-themed camouflage. I believe it's for an event that is going to occur, I think, soon-ish, or maybe it's just commemorating this mini event with the Mediterranean. I don't really know, but this is the unique premium that you would potentially earn from buying it with Mediterranean tokens. The other skin that's available is sort of a neutral wartime Spanish. It's got great big Spanish flags on the area just below the turrets. Even on this one, you'll notice that there are Spanish flags on the side of the turrets. And you can kind of use that to your advantage because it does highlight an area where, you could have question on where the guns are facing. Obviously, if you just look really close, you can tell that the barrels are either staring at you or not. But it's just an added effect that opponents can make use of that I just want to call out. Now, we've already used one speed boost. Ooh, Fiji took a lot of damage there. We have to, screw whatever we were doing because we're going to shoot this guy. And, of course, he drops off right as I was ready to fire. Anyway, we'll just continue this assault. And it does look like the Bismarck wants to shoot us. So does the Fiji, actually. And I'm going to try and rely on the extra speed that it has with engine boost. You can also actively dodge, very effective in this. And, ooh, is it going to get there? Ooh, if we gave him just a little bit more lead, it would have been. And we have to follow up with this salvo. Meanwhile, this German battlecruiser is trying to push me back, and his secondaries are, of course, affecting me. But we can reach out and touch that Fiji. It's one of the nice traits of this ship, quite honestly. If you can effectively stay near your max range, you can be really annoying because you're so far away. You've got great speed, and you've got great maneuvering potential. Just like French cruisers, French DDs. It's really tough if you're the only ship that they can see and they're trying to affect you. Because it's really good at avoiding incoming damage. Obviously, I needed to stay further back from this enemy, but I wanted to move forward so that I could try and potentially take out the Fiji. So he tried to assist his teammate, wasn't enough, but we have lost over 60% of our life, and we really haven't done much. I mean, we've gotten kills, a kill, but we've been farming for nearly 9 minutes, and we've only done 39,000 damage. And that just comes down to having only AP as an option. In this situation, of course I would prefer to have HE. Bow-in battleships, yeah, HE's gonna do so much more work than AP could ever do. And they're doing a great job of angling against me or adjusting their heading. It really creates tough shells because you really have to hit the superstructure. They really have... Oh, well, that Bismarck, poor guy. Took a couple torpedoes, and then he flooded out. But they've really nerfed this thing into a very focused design. Its AP shell doesn't really overpin small ships. So it sticks in small ships and does significant damage, and you'll see that later on as we move up. We had to give so much ground, though. It's going to take us a little while to get back into the action. Friendly Bismarck is spotted. He has taken a lot of damage, and so has the other friendly battleship that's right here. Enemy DD spotted, and notice I've got 2 DDs that are just like pushing up the left and doing everything they can to force the enemy on the west side to feel uncomfortable. And I would definitely feel uncomfortable if I was basically surrounded on 3 sides. I would try and break out and reach my teammates. We're going to try and counter that play because this battleship does indeed look like he's trying to break out and join up with his teammates. But we've got his side, and we're just trying to chip away at his health. Now he's going to fire high explosive. Wouldn't really recommend firing high explosive on a German battlecruiser. I definitely think you should fire your AP, and especially against this ship, the AP is just going to work better. It's a heavy cruiser, but it's not like an ultra tanky cruiser. It relies a lot on its active maneuvering. And if, the player is capable of active maneuvering, it doesn't matter if it's AP or HE, it's going to be a difficult shot. Now, right here is something that I really enjoyed in the moment. I am aiming based on the minimap. I am placing the crosshair indication on the minimap so that it intersects with the front heading of the enemy battleship. And it's going to be really effective. I need to get the location down. This AP has to hit the superstructure to be effective. So I figure, all right, we're going to move forward. There's probably a DD that's very close because there's 3 unspotted on the west side. But I want to get this kill, you know, and once again, we're near our max range. He's trying to retreat, but he really can't get away from us because of the nature of our ship. And I activate Hydro, preemptively expecting more torpedoes to come my way, and Friendly takes him out. Nice. We are, of course, going to continue going forward. The east side is pushing up. My teammates are defending rather well. And there's still 4 enemy DDs alive, so this is going to be a very hairy situation. But we do have radiolocation, hydroacoustic, and speed boost. All of those are great at chasing down DDs. And this AP shell is optimized to be effective against DDs. It has limited overpin against the shallow hull of DDs, and it's going to show in this matchup that we're going to get some shots where a similar design ship would have just overpinned and done almost no damage with AP, but because of the nature of this ship, it kind of combines the British short fuse with a heavy AP design and mix in a little bit of Frenchy, and we've got a Spanish ship, and 2 sets of torpedoes come flying through. That's okay. There is a Leon that is going to be pushing up on the east side, and I want to, of course, be careful of that. I'm very mindful of that. The Friendly DD is being hounded by the enemy aircraft carrier all this time, and ooh, our first DD of the day. Oh, both of them are right in front of us. Wow. Well, we got Hydro barely up. Enemy decides to pop his smoke. I decide, okay, we're going to traverse into the other guy, but you know what? We'll traverse it back, and ooh. Yeah, that was a good amount of damage. Just need him to maintain this kind of angle, and the only thing he can do to avoid this is to be perfectly bow or stern away from me and force the AP to ricochet. If he's showing a little bit of side like that, man, it's going to be really easy for this AP to stick in that ship and do pretty good damage. And admittedly, we did take a little bit more chip damage, and we are spotted by something. Not anymore, of course, but we were, and long enough that the Leon decided to fire at us. But thankfully, he missed. So, we can continue the pursuit over on the west side, or we can deal with these guys on the east. The nice thing about the Canarius is it can kind of reach out and touch both. You know, I can be moving towards these DDs, but I can still actually hit that guy. Not many tier 6 ships can say that are cruisers. So, as we're headed towards this, I know for a fact that radiolocation is pointing at a closer target, which means that the other enemy DD is actually pretty close. And here is my perfect example of aiming with the minimap. If you aim with the minimap and he doesn't change his heading, and you drag it out long enough, you can pretty much get enough lead to deal with him. And ooh! Enemy DD pops out right in front of us. He activates his smoke. The other enemy DD is so far away that I can't really affect him, and nor can I see him. 1 set of torpedoes, and we're just gonna slide right by. And conveniently, it throws off his follow-up shot. And now, we are undetected. The concealment on the ship is pretty awesome. I will say, though, I have read some articles. Oh, here we go. Broadside DD, AP broadside. Look at that. Every shell that actually hit him didn't overpin. Every shell, once again, that hit him didn't overpin. So you can see a trend here, right? Yes. This ship overperforms against DDs. Light cruisers that are relatively close will just refuse to overpin. But it's kind of underwhelming at range. You know, the AP can be good, but it has to hit a very specific position, the superstructure. It just doesn't have enough penetration at range to really excel. So, you've got to work within the bounds of the ship. Obviously, having the extra range at times is more beneficial than having the extra AP penetration, but quite honestly, I would like the chance to decide between either. But I don't. I have to work within the design of this. I just have to say, I find the voice very entertaining. Might be a little over the top for a Spaniard. Fits the Latin more, but I definitely enjoy it, so don't touch it. Don't you dare touch it. It's just something different. Ooh, we're very low, and I give one last salvo, aiming via the minimap, and we actually hit the target, knock him out, and that is our 4th kill of the match. But we've only done 61,000 damage. But we are bottom tier, so that's a good thing to showcase. What does the ship perform like in the worst case scenario, aka the bottom tier? You could see, man, bow-in ships where you only can fire AP, it's tough to do anything more than, the smallest amount of chip damage. But it offers something different, and if you locate your shells well, you can still affect the map. And then if you get broadside targets, I'm trying to envision something like Estuary being the map. This ship would love to be able to rotate and observe the whole option and be in range of most of the opponents. Whereas in a long-range engagement and most of the enemy being so far out of range that they're, quite literally on the other side of the map, there's a lot fewer options available. So the things that the Canarius does well: long-range AP fire, short-range AP penetration against lightly armored targets. It's got a French speed boost-like design. I think the speed boost is 20 or 25%. It's really beneficial. So extending the duration of speed boost, highly encouraged. Things I don't like: it only has AP. If it had high explosive, I would have been able to do more consistent damage against those bow-in battleships. It also can't use defensive AA or equip anything other than hydroacoustic. So that does limit the game types or the situations that it can actually perform. And, quite honestly, the thing that I find probably the most frustrating is starting from scratch with a commander, man. I have a 21 because of being a CC, and even if I didn't, I could just use the Elite Commander XP that I've generated playing this game way too long and overcome that. But for most of you, it is from scratch, which could easily be the nail in the coffin for most. It's like, oh, I don't want to go through having to grind it. But eventually you will have to, whether it's now or whenever the first Spanish line is introduced. And Wargaming has definitely indicated that they will be introducing Spanish lines into the game. So there will be value eventually of being able to level the commander. It's just right now there's only one ship. So it's kind of like the Błyskawica. It was really only valuable for the Błyskawica before it was sort of combined. It used to just be its own Polish fleet. So yeah, there are definite downsides to it. But overall, it was a fun game, and I enjoy the challenges that it creates, being so unique compared to that of sort of the French. French is honestly the closest comparison I can think about right now. I don't really think there's anyone else that is as comparable as the French are to them. So I think that, if you like the French speed dodginess, you might like the Spaniard as well. So overall, both ships offer some unique gameplay, and they are definitely very different. So pay attention to the gameplay and really decide for yourself which one you truly want, because you never know when you'll get the other one as an option. I was actually glad that I had this type of game as bottom tier, because it is the hardest matchup that you will play in the ship. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, please like it, sub to my channel. You can also watch me at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you and have a wonderful day.